young kids all grown up today. The Brady Bunch ran for 5 years, from 1969 to 1974. Today it is in syndication around the world, so most likely 24 hours a day, the Brady Bunch is playing somewhere in the world. Now, Barry, in your book, you said, while you were on the show, you were attracted to Florence Henderson, who played your mom, Carol. In fact, you were so attracted to her that you eventually asked her out on a date. We want to know what happened on that date, don't we? Yeah. Okay, we're going to bring Mom out. Please welcome Florence Henderson. Florence Henderson without thinking about her being soaking wet and our last visit together in the rain in Florida.
Yes, and you know, Sally, can I just say about that? When we got on that plane, you talked about the plane ride. Well, you know how wet we were. We all went in that little trailer. You put us in that little trailer, and Susan Olsen and Eve Plum said, "There's a gas leak in here. It's terrible. It's a terrible smell. Maybe we're going to blow up or something." And I went, "No, it's my perm." Boy, did I think.
You know, I think that the actors, the young actors, kids on the Brady Bunch, were very, very lucky to be able to work with a seasoned pro like Florence Henderson. Okay, let's go right to it. Barry, set this up for us. How did your date come about?
Well, first
and when did you notice you were first attracted?
Well, can I just say one thing in defense of my son? He didn't inhale.
Just an experiment.
How to say it?
We make a cute couple, I think. Now listen, if you...
Yeah, and now you're beginning to look older than I do, so I think it's great.
I'm telling you, you take the apron off this woman and take away the image of the of America's best mom, and what you have is one very, very healthy, sexy lady.
Right.
And this did not escape my 15-year-old attention. So I had said I'd asked her out. She's a singer. I knew that I had wanted to at some point sing myself, and I didn't know where I would go, but I decided on this ultra swanky club in Los Angeles called the Coconut Grove. There was a singer coming in, some Mediterranean crooner.
Rougon.
Yes. And I asked her to go, if she would come with me to the show, and she graciously said yes. And that's how it started.
This is while the show is running, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
The show is very
Mom and son are dating.
I was not yet 16 years old.
And I was commuting from New York to L.A., so that's why I was there alone without my husband and my 4 children. And the problem was that Barry could not drive. Now, you know, it's kind of like Rashomon, you know, how people remember stories differently from their own viewpoint. His brother, as I recall, Craig, drove him to my hotel in his car.
That's right.
And then I drove us to our date at the Coconut Grove. That's how I remembered it. That's close?
I don't remember that part of it. I remember driving his car.
Do you?
Oh yes, because I had to learn how to drive his car because it was one of those muscle-bound Formula 400 Firebirds, and it had this ridiculous clutch, and it was impossible, really difficult for me to drive, and I wanted to be the big man of the day.
Well, Barry, at that age, you know, when you talked about tripping, Barry had feet, I swear. He was always tripping over his feet. He was clumsy, but he was the cutest kid that I think I have ever seen. Did he kiss me goodnight? Did he kiss me goodnight? I'll just tell you. Did he? Yes. But Sally, I think this book really could be subtitled Barry's Raging Hormones. That's kind of what it's about.
See, the question, Sally, you didn't ask is, did I kiss her again in the morning? All right, I'm sorry, I won't talk about it.
Barry is still having raging hormones,
yeah.
right?
Well, you know, the interesting thing about this story, and it's made the world press, people would love to believe that Barry and I had sex. That's what people would love to believe, honestly. And they get so disappointed when I say no. And they, oh, well, of course you, oh, you did, of course you did. And I said, look, hey, I'm not Roseanne. I don't do all these crazy things. I don't talk about my life, you know, in public. Let's say even if I did that.
You wouldn't talk about it.
Why would I talk about it? You know, I mean, how stupid.
I wasn't disappointed. I am so naive that I just loved the idea you went out on a date.
Well, and that's exactly what it was. And it was so much fun to watch this kid trying to, you know, we didn't get a good table because the maitre d' didn't recognize us right off. And poor Barry felt so badly. And I said, well, maybe if you go up, if you give him a couple of bucks or something. You know, I'm trying to, and...
Which she suggested. I had no idea. I said, of course, tip the man. Give him some money, grease his palm. Like I'd watched it on James Bond movies. But the thing, I had no idea how much to give this guy to get a good table, but I didn't want to take any chances. Most I'd ever given anybody was $1 to park a car. So I took out 3 $1 bills, thinking this would for sure do it. And I handed this guy the $3, he counted it, and he looked at me, and I don't know if he was just being nice or had finally recognized her, but he said, come with me, and we traipsed back down through the coconut grove, had a beautiful table. Of course, people were now starting to wonder why this woman was with this young man, why Carol was dating Greg, but...
Did you know he was, I mean, there's that thing in the book about playing around with lollipops. Did you know that he was interested in you?
Playing around with lollipops.
Oh, she's referring to that, the network still pictures.
Oh.
We're given this ridiculous
First of all, people have to understand, if you see me on television for years and years and years, I'm pretty much myself on television. When I'm not playing a character, I grew up in a very large family. I'm the youngest of 10. I grew up on a farm. I'm a rather earthy person, and anyone that knows me knows I love to tell stories, I love to tell jokes, and I love to make people laugh. And I have a sense of humor about sex and life and most things like that. So I'm just prefacing what I hope you're not going to tell.
He is. He's going to tell about the lollipop.
Yes.
I think we're into it now. we had been given these, we were doing our still photos for the first year of the show, very young. We were all kind of meeting and getting to know each other. And some prop personality brought out these enormous lollipops. And we were kind of holding them and seeing what we could or could not do with them. And I said, look at this thing. It would take 10 hours to suck this thing down to nothing. And that's a long time to suck on anything. At which everyone went dead quiet. Here's a 14-year-old kid, like, making these jokes that were sort of out of line and out of bounds. And it was like this really long pause. And then she said, not for me, it isn't. And broke the ice, and I looked over, rescued, and we've been friends ever since.
We have been.
And you are earthy. That's absolutely right. We're going to allow you to ask, we're going to hope you ask some questions, and when we come back, they were the TV darlings of the 80s, those private school girls who asked for help from Mrs. Garrett on the show Facts of Life. Mrs. Garrett is Charlotte Rae, and she will be reunited with Lisa Whelchel, who played Blair. Don't go away.